this too.
Hi, Facebook. Desiree here with Elise. We announced we're starting our Facebook Live at 10 a.m., but we thought we'd just start this a little early, and because we know some people were waiting, so we're just going to chat for a few minutes, and we will officially start taking questions and start discussing some of the benefits and things that we look for when working at Shriners Hospital for Children in Salt Lake City. So Elise, by the way, is our recruiter.
Hi.
So her job here is to hire people.
Yep.
So.
I meet people. Basically, what I do all day is I look at your resumes, I look at applications, I schedule appointments and interviews, and I interview people. I get to know a lot of people. It's pretty fun. And then I help, once we choose someone, I help get them onboarded into the hospital.
Yeah. So who better to help us talk about how to get a job here, right? So while we're waiting to get started, I just thought so my job here at the hospital, I'm Desiree, I'm the public relations specialist, and so I get to look at our presence online, and I spend a lot of time on our social media accounts, and I get notified whenever people leave reviews for us. And so it is such a privilege to read our Google reviews, our Facebook reviews, our health grade reviews. People just have such wonderful things to say, and just helps me know what an incredible organization I work for, because I don't always get to see what happens on the clinical side with the patients and their families, and the reviews they leave are incredibly touching. So while we're waiting, I just thought I would read a few. I just went to Facebook and printed them off, so I haven't actually pre-sorted them. These are just the ones that printed. So Joe Spooner says, the people and the staff are very friendly, and they go out of their way to be helpful. The staff is always looking for fun things for the children to do. The only thing that they really need to do is work on having more staff available. Oh my goodness! What a great...
Let's hire more staff!
Let's hire more staff! So if you want to work for a children's hospital, it is very important that we have quality staff. So even though we do have needs and holes in some positions of needing more staff, we do not hurry necessarily. We're looking for a good fit. And so that is why it's really important for us to get good candidates, and we want to make sure that the right information is out there and what we're looking for. Right. So if you want to work for a children's hospital, please put your questions below, and we've got Terrell over here behind the scenes. I'll pan over so you can see Terrell.
Hey, send in your questions. I'm watching live.
Yeah, so she'll be feeding us your questions. Looks like she's already commented, love Shriners Hospital, ! Awesome. Nice. We love it too.
Perfect.
Yeah, so what time is it? Are we at 10 o'clock yet?
Let's see, we're at 9:59, so we've got
minute.
one more minute until we officially start talking about jobs at the hospital.
Yeah. So I'll just read maybe a couple more reviews. Jennifer Phillips says, Shriners Hospital is amazing. I cannot thank them and the staff enough for making us feel like we are at home and taking such wonderful care of my daughter. We love to hear that. A big part of our mission here is so that it doesn't feel like a hospital. We want it to feel like a place kids want to come. And I do find that kids often say, or I hear parents say, their kids will say, when are we going to Shriners? They're always wanting to come back, which we love to hear. Do you want to read the next one?
Yeah,
first?
that'd be awesome.
From Margaret Taylor.
Yeah, Margaret Taylor. Margaret Taylor says, it was a good trip to Shriners Hospitals. Each time everyone who works there are very friendly. So everyone who works there is very friendly. And it's always good news. How to progress is going with my granddaughter. So I think she comes with her granddaughter, and for the next visit, she's looking forward to the next visit next year. That's awesome. We're looking forward to having you again.
Yeah, awesome. So we love reading these reviews, and we want to continue to provide this high quality of care to our patients, this whole experience. So when you think of working in a hospital, you generally think of like a doctor, a nurse, maybe a physical therapist, a clinical position. But here at Shriners Hospital, it's more about just those people that affect the patient's lives, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So we have about 250 employees here at the hospital at any given time, like 250, 255, more or less. And a lot of them are clinical staff, like Desiree was saying. We've got a lot of doctors, a lot of nurses who are very important. But there are also a lot of non-clinical staff, so people like me who help hire people. There are people who help register people, so get our patients in through the door. That's a non-clinical position. People who work with medical records. We have a lot of different needs in that area as well. So I feel like when I'm hiring people, I look at two different sides. I look at clinical staff who need to be certified nurses, but I also look for other people too. So if you're not a nurse, it's okay. You can still work at a hospital, which is really, I think, really cool.
Perfect. And we actually have a question from Mira Bettendorf.
Hi, Mira.
She's wondering if we have utilized occupational therapy assistants in the past. And she's also a former Shriners patient.
Oh, great.
And she had such an exceptional experience here.
Oh, wonderful.
And she would love to give back.
Oh, that's great.
Great. So, Mira, I will talk a little bit. I'm not sure if your question is specifically for a job or volunteering, because you did use the words give back. So we'll maybe talk about both of those aspects when it comes to occupational therapy.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of ways to get involved with Shriners. Occupational therapy assistants, I don't know if we've hired assistants in the past. I'm not really sure. I'll have to check on that. I know right now we don't have any of those official job positions available as an occupational therapist assistant. I do know we have OTs here. We definitely have occupational therapists here who work. I think we have one who is full-time and some who are part-time in PRN. And they might be willing to take on a volunteer. It kind of just depends on what their needs are. So volunteering here is definitely a great way to work one-on-one with the therapist potentially. And I know that Terrell Contis, our volunteer coordinator who's here asking the questions, helps people who want to have those types of experiences. She helps them find a good fit for them in the hospital. So hopefully that helps answer your question. But if you want to go to OT school and become an occupational therapist, we do have every now and then we need to hire those. So
and what's interesting here is we have like one official occupational therapist position who works all day long. She's seeing patients for occupational therapy. Mm-hmm. And then we actually, in our wheelchair department, we have Ken, who is an occupational therapist by trade, but he uses his skills in fitting kids to wheelchairs. And so we wouldn't have necessarily thought to hire an occupational therapist for that position, but he had an interest in that, and because he had that skill set, it fit. Because if you're looking to help a kid with activities of daily living, like an occupational therapist does, that obviously fits into a kid who's in a wheelchair every day. And so sometimes, like, we'll have a nurse in a position that she's not necessarily on the floor helping kids, but because she has that background, that can lead to other opportunities in the hospital. Right?
Absolutely. I love to see, for any position in the hospital, I love to see pediatric experience or medical experience, no matter where you're going. Because if you're familiar with the medical world, it's just going to help you, and it's just going to help us and help our patients, which is the goal. We want to find people who can help our patients the best. So having any sort of expertise is awesome. It's really great to see.
Yeah, and if I know when I am out in my life every day, and I tell people I work at Shriners Hospital, especially if it's a student, I often get the response of, "Oh, how do you work there?" and then I ask, "Well, what are you interested in?" And they're like, "Well, I'm not sure, but working in a children's hospital sounds great." And so if you're not sure, but you know that this is the place, an environment you are interested in, then a great way is just to get your foot in the door and volunteer, and then you just get exposure to oh, I thought I wanted to maybe do nursing, but now I see this other cool job over here in physical therapy. It's just a good way to get a feel, and then maybe you find out, I don't want to work in a children's hospital, and then it's, you haven't gone to 6 years of school for it. So there's always volunteer opportunities, right? I'm going to turn the camera over to Trill a little bit. She can talk about our volunteer opportunities.
Hey, everybody. So my name is Terrell, and I'm the volunteer coordinator at Shriners Hospital. We have about 85 to 90 volunteers who come in on a regular basis, and we have them throughout basically all the departments in the hospital. So we have volunteer greeters who help patients and families sign into the hospital. We have volunteer drivers who pick up patients from the airport, and volunteers in medical records. We just started a volunteer in our anesthesia department. That's
great clinical experience.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
inpatient department, recreational therapy. It's kind of endless. So if you want to volunteer, it's a great way to get your foot in the door for a possible job or career down the line.
Yeah, and we love our volunteers. We could not deliver the quality of care to our kids without our volunteers, because we rely so heavily on donations that anytime we can bring volunteers in to relieve some of those donated funds going to more salaried employees, our volunteers just help a lot with that. So then more of those donated funds can go directly to our kids. And our volunteers are really devoted to our mission, which of course just creates a great atmosphere, and they're great. We love them.
Yes, totally agree. Couldn't do it without them.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Thanks, Terrell.
That's awesome. I've met some of the volunteers, and they've applied for jobs, and it's been really nice to be able to it's really easy to get in contact with them, have their application, because they already have a lot of materials here from volunteering here. So it really is a good way to kind of get into the hospital, see because there are so many different departments that I didn't even know existed before I worked here. So it's a good way to see all those different departments and hear about job opportunities. It's a really good way to get that one-on-one info.
Yeah.
And we actually have a question from Nathan Haynes.
Hi, Nathan.
He's wondering what kind of volunteers we're in the most need of.
Go back over here to Terrell.
I would say right now we're probably most in need of phone operators. So we do have volunteers running the main line of the hospital, transferring calls to the necessary departments. But it is a difficult position to fill because some people want to be interacting with kids, which is totally understandable. But it really is so helpful to have someone answering the phones so that our employees can be doing other things.
And that's a really important position, because for a lot of our patient families, that's their first contact with our hospital. So to have a friendly face friendly voice on the phone when they make that first call, that we see that as one of the most important pieces of contact that our patient families have with us.
Definitely.
So if you are okay being friendly on the phone, we'd love to have you.
And it's a fun environment to be a part of. It's just fun to be at Shriners Hospital. It's so warm and welcoming. And so if you want to come answer phones for a couple of hours a week, we would love it. So
yeah, awesome. Okay, and so in preparation to this Facebook Live, we did have a few questions submitted. Dhruva Sagar asked, what are the requirements? So I'll let Elise talk about that. Obviously, each position has its own required, relevant experience,
right?
But there is a baseline for any employee who works here. So I'll let you talk about that a little.
Right, yeah. Requirements, of course, like Desiree said, different positions will require certain degrees. Basic requirements for anybody who works here is I do need an application filled out. That's something that is official, and you can find this online. I can move it closer so you can kind of see it. It's the Shriners application, so I officially need that on record. Other requirements is we do run a standard background check and drug test for anybody who comes to work at our hospital, and that's standard across the whole hospital. So after we interview you, that's something that you have to go through as well.
And that's true for our volunteers as well, right? They get that background check and drug test.
Yes, so that's kind of the foundation or a bare minimum that we absolutely need to have that sort of information. And then I guess other requirements for working at a hospital is I would need to see a dedication to the mission and to pediatric care. I do require people who are dedicated to helping out our hospital. So that's kind of a, not an official requirement, but that's a requirement I look for when I'm hiring people. Yeah.
Yeah, and we do have a very unique mission. If you are not familiar with Shriners Hospital, we are a little different than a lot of hospitals in that we provide care regardless of ability to pay. And so that does tend to attract people that are just really dedicating to put the care of the child first, and that is just so core to all of us. I work in public relations, and I don't get to be there in the clinic room when the kid is getting the care they need, But in all that I do, I feel that dedication to, getting the word out about the hospital, and that informs everything I do. And even talking to like our housekeeping staff, you can tell that they care so much. They want to make sure that our kids have a clean room, a clean facility, and they are doing it because they believe in the mission of the hospital.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So another question we got before this that was submitted from Antonio is he asked specifically, do we have any jobs that involve teaching or tutoring the kids in small groups?
The answer is yes. I don't think we have any of those positions open right now, but we do have people who do work here one-on-one with the children in children rec therapy, I believe is what it's called, child life therapy. There are different people who work here, part-time and full-time, who try to create events for the kids and activities for the kids and work with them one-on-one. And many of our volunteers actually assist in that. I do know that volunteers can help teaching one-on-one, I think, with or tutoring kids or in small groups. I know that can be harder to come by sometimes because everyone loves to do that. That's the highlight, I think, for a lot of people. But that is an opportunity, from what I understand from volunteering, I believe. So,
yeah, and we actually have another question about volunteering. Sorry
okay.
Awesome. No, this
we
is
love
great.
Our volunteers.
Volunteers are awesome.
Yeah, so this
So
question is from Teresa Wortham Osorio.
Okay.
She's wondering if there is any volunteer work that they can do from their home.
Oh.
The answer is yes, absolutely. So we are always in need of fleece blankets. We give these blankets to kids after they have surgery. And also while they're in inpatient, even outpatients. We just want them to feel welcomed and warm, both literally and figuratively.
Yes.
So we always need fleece blankets. Just the one layer with the knotted edges are perfect. We always accept new toys. So if a child comes in and they want to choose a toy, we have them in the lobby that they can choose from. They do have to be brand new. We can't accept any used toys just for infection control. And they have to be latex free because we do have latex allergies here. But any blankets, toys. We also have, I'll have to post this somewhere, but we have a need for covers for our club foot bars. So when a child is in a brace for clubbed feet, there's a metal bar that connects the 2 feet. And it's really hard, and a lot of times babies are wearing these, and they can conk themselves in the head with the bar. So we need covers to put on those bars.
Just like made from fabric.
Yeah, and they can also, we've seen like foam. It's like a pipe cover, I don't know exactly, covered in fabric. So it's a little more soft. And they range from 3 inches to 6 inches. And I can post like a template or something somehow.
Yeah, I'll plan on, if you get that to me, I'll just plan on posting it here on Facebook.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure we can find a place on our website that we can just put that so that it's available.
Yeah. So thanks for your question, Teresa.
Great. Awesome.
That's awesome. I think Terrell kind of mentioned how we want all the kids to be warm, right? That kind of makes me think about our company culture. If you wonder what it's like to work here or to come to Shriners, I always look for people who are going to fit in with our company culture. And the way I describe it whenever people ask in an interview, what is it like to work here? I say it's like a big family, right? We are a big family. There's only about, a little over 200 of us employees here all the time. So you really get to know each other. You get to know the directors of the hospital. You get to know the surgeons. And you get to know the registrars. You get to know a lot of different people in a lot of different departments, which I think is really unique. It's not like a giant hospital where you don't know everyone. You really do get to know everybody here, and I think there are a lot of pros to that. It's a really neat environment to be in.
Yeah, and this is an especially interesting time in our culture's history because we do tend to have employees that stay for a really long time.
Yeah.
And so I started here over 4 years ago, and I watched, every year, maybe 5 or 6 people that have been here for a really long time retire. And then because
20
of
plus years.
Yes.
Amazing.
And then because of that, we watch this new batch of people come in. And so we're in a really great place right now where we have people that have been here for a long time. They have that perspective of how far we've come. And then we have all these new, fresh employees that have a new perspective. And so it's a great time to see some changes, but also really valuing our traditions and our culture, because there's a lot of things that we're known well for, and we want to make sure we continue performing at that level. So it's great that we have so many openings because of our kind of changing of our staff. And then the exciting thing is we are creating more positions, which a small organization doesn't always do. And so there are some great positions. So how can people find out what openings are available?
Good question. I think one of the best ways is to go onto a site called Career Builder. Career Builder is what our hospitals nationwide use. We use that system to post our jobs. So that's one of the first places I would go. You can also go to our Shriners website, of course, because I know Career Builder is linked with our Shriners webpage. So those are two places that I would go to see what positions are available. I think if you go onto that, you can kind of scroll through and look. Right now, we've got quite a few non-clinical positions available, so things like registering patients or checking insurance verifications. Those types of things are available, and you don't have to be a nurse to do that. We do also have nursing positions available. I know we need night shift help. CNAs are also available too. So if you go on to careerbuilder.com and just look in the Salt Lake City Shriners region, you should be able to find those postings, or onto our Shriners homepage for sure. Those should be linked together and you can find it there.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so let's talk about some of the benefits for working for Shriners Hospital.
That would be great. I think Shriners Hospitals for Children, it really does offer some great employee benefits. So we provide medical, dental, vision, and all of those have different options of what plans you want. So there are options within that. We have 2 health plans. We have 2 dental plans. We also provide, we work with Transamerica currently, so we do provide retirement options and opportunities, which is always good to start planning for that, yes. Especially if you work here for 20 plus years. Yes. Really cool. We do have a matching system as well with that retirement, so I think that is also unique to us. Not completely unique, but not all hospitals and not all associations do that. So matching is really, really great here too. And that includes all of these benefits are available to all of our employees. So whether you're full-time, part-time, or even PRN, which is super unique that our hospital does that. PRN means that you're working on call. So we have a lot of nurses who work on call who aren't part-time or full-time. They just come when as needed. And those benefits are also available to them. And most hospitals don't do that. So that's really, I think, a really unique benefit of being an employee here. It's really neat. Something else that's really cool about working here is the Live Well program. The Live Well program is a program where we try, and I'm on the committee, we try to help our employees live well, basically doing exercise and taking care of their mental health too. And by participating in the Live Well program, you can earn days off. We provide events and activities and lunch and learns where you can enjoy lunch while learning about a cool topic or an interesting topic. And I think that's great. We do yoga Wednesdays and Fridays for all of our employees.
Which is wonderful.
Super fun. Yeah. Terrell, the volunteer coordinator, actually...
She's an instructor.
She's one of the instructors.
Yeah.
So we really try to incorporate the talents of our employees and try to use those to help benefit their fellow employees, to help them have a good experience here, which is really neat that you can do that. You can do yoga at Shriners Hospitals for Children if you work here.
In the big playroom, where if you haven't been here, we have this enormous playroom upstairs. Yeah. That is probably one of the main reasons that our patients ask their mom, when can we go back to Shriners? Because
it's super fun.
It feels like you're coming to a playground, which is often used for physical therapy, and it's actually used for patient care, but we just corner off a little area for yoga. The sounds of delightful children around us as we breathe deeply and meditate.
It's great. You always know that you're working in a good place.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Awesome. Okay. So is there anything that I've neglected to ask you about you wanted to talk about with what we're looking for?
I think, something I would like to point out too is that Shriners Hospitals for Children in Salt Lake City has been made it onto the Salt Lake Tribune top workplace for the past 3 years.
Yeah.
Which is really awesome.
Yeah.
So 3 years in a row, we've been rated as a great place to work.
And that data comes from surveying our employees. So there are certain measurements that companies throughout the valley are rated on, and our employees say how much they like working here, and that's how we get that ranking. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's pretty positive feedback from working here for the most part, which is good.
Yeah. Awesome. We also, now that we're mentioning rankings, we also have been had the U.S. News World Report ranking among the top pediatric orthopedic hospitals for the last 4 years, and we're hoping to get ranked again for the 5th year coming up here soon, in conjunction with Primary Children's. And so we have a great, unique relationship here where we are tied with Primary Children's. We have the same physicians for pediatric orthopedic care, and so because of that, our physicians have the ability to see so many kids with orthopedic needs, and then can then know which resources will best fit that kid. And then we also have that great relationship at the University of Utah. So we have a lot of research connections, and all of our orthopedic surgeons are on the staff at the University of Utah. So we're helping to raise up the next generation of orthopedic surgeons, and that commitment to that quality of care is really important to us. So many great reasons to work here. It's such a great organization.
It's really great. If you're interested in applying for a job here or for volunteering here, please reach out, because we really want to communicate, and we really want to bring on some great talent and to meet you. I think the pediatric field is always meaningful, right? It's always meaningful to work at a job or to work here where you can interact with kids, or even if you don't interact with kids. I don't really interact with them, but I hire the people who do. So if you're interested in that, please reach out. It's a great place.
Yeah, so how can people get a hold of you? How can they reach out?
Yeah, reaching out. Career Builder again. I'll definitely pitch that one. We should post my contact information and phone number, because I don't mind if you reach out to me that way. I think it's a great way. Or even just call the hospital. And the phone operators, right, those volunteers will help direct you to me, and we can talk and have a conversation about what opportunities are available.
And her name is Elise, so just call the main line, ask for Elise in public relations, or
Human Resources.
Human Resources.
You could talk to Desiree in Public Relations too, and she'll direct you to me in Human Resources. Yeah.
Yes, Human Resources, or just ask to talk to the recruiter. But yeah, I will post below after we post this to our Facebook page. I'll post her contact information. And there is a link to our page that's specifically about how to get a job here, so that may answer some more of your questions. And we're going to wrap up unless anyone has one last question they want to throw at us. I'll just wait a second. And I'm just going to read one more review from our Facebook page, because we love hearing these stories. This is a great review from Chiang Mai. She says, I'm a former Shriners patient from the 1980s. That's a good reminder that we've been in the valley here in Salt Lake City since 1925, which a lot of people are surprised to hear about, because we actually didn't start advertising until 2014. So we are kind of like, people are just starting to know who we are, unless you had care here. So 1980s, and Dr. Coleman was my wonderful surgeon back then. I'm now 48 years old and will always be grateful for Shriners Hospital. And that, I love that. I love that this hospital makes such an impact on the childhood and development of so many kids, and they always remember that. It's always a special part of who they are. And so it's such an honor to work at a place where we get to have that kind of impact. So we hope you'll consider working for us. Check out the openings and career builders like Elise mentioned.
And
Terrell's giving me the look. Do we have a question?
We have another question. Thank you, Alba Paulson.
Hi, Alba.
Awesome. Hey.
So she's wondering if we still need winter hats. They loved bringing the ones that their service group did last year.
Oh, cool.
Do we still need winter hats?
We do need winter hats. So we would love to have you make them or buy them, whatever works for you. Yeah, our kids definitely still need hats.
It's still very cold here in Salt Lake City.
Yep, and probably will be until March.
Yeah, there's
Until-
some more snow
yeah.
coming. So.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks for your question. Thanks for all of you out there who support us. We have such great supporters, from volunteers to people who send us money that help us continue to take care of kids. All of that is just so meaningful to us. And thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Bye.
Be in touch.
Yes. Reach out.